It's interesting that you picked Ground Zero of Connecticut to have the meeting here. And I don't know if you were aware, but Public Act 136, which was actually drafted in 2006 as part of what the state just bonded $537 million to fund. It's got over $1 billion of earmark for this town.
Windham?
Just for Windham. For the regional transit hub here. That's just one piece. The latest grant that came through was from the Knowledge Corridor Consortium. $4.2 million for Sustainable Communities Regional Planning Grant Program. So this is exactly what they're rolling out in Bristol. And they're probably rolling it out in every single town across Connecticut that has rail in it.
Yep.
From what I could see, what we need to do is we need to look at our zoning minutes. We need to look at our Economic Development Committee minutes. And we need to look at our regional planning minutes, if you have any. I don't have any. I went to the public hearing for this new regional plan that they have for conservation. There was 3 of us. There was 1 of them. It was a sit-down meeting, and he just basically flipped through the book, showed us everything in it. We had some questions. He gave us the answers that we wanted to hear. And he said there was no commitment unless our town officials actually wanted to adopt it, that they couldn't enforce anything in it. And then the very next day, they put on their website that they had a public hearing, and we adopted the new plan.
When was the public hearing?
There was no minutes. My questions and my opposition to the plan was not listed anywhere. What was really interesting, I thought, though, that they had supporting documents and minutes for the meeting that they had afterwards, and it said that Christopher Wright came. We don't know what he said, what they talked about, anything that went on in that meeting, other than they did have a discussion about whether or not, when they expanded the region to include Waterbury, if they were going to actually go on the record as saying that they were rescinding their rights for authority. Now, supposedly, they don't have any authority. That's what they told me. Supporting documents from the same minutes, Town of Waterbury submitted a document, asked the Central Connecticut Regional Planning Agency if it was all right if they changed their zoning. So if these people have no authority, why are they asking the regional government if it's okay to change it? Well, what I found out is actually this is kind of like the way Connecticut Council of Municipalities works. You become a member in your town to the regional government, and the regional government basically compensates you financially for the materials, the software, like Dave was saying. So you can get your town out of it. That's, from what I could see, the best thing that you could do. The problem is, I sat down for the public hearing, and he's like, everybody that walked in was like, what are you guys doing here? It's like, it's a public hearing. Oh, we're not used to having anybody here. Only one guy spoke. He's basically the liaison for public relations, didn't want to tell us anything.
CCM is there's a Connecticut Conference of Municipalities that you don't know, it's the CCM. And out of 169 towns in Connecticut, 167 belong to CCM. Now, each town is responsible to send members. Now, for a town to send a representative to the CCM meeting, it has to be an officer of the town or a selectman, someone with authority. In other words, my town just can't appoint a citizen to go to the CCM meeting. It has to be a high elected official with policy-making powers.
It's the same with Central Connecticut Regional Planning Agency and whoever your planning agency is. They have to sign on to it, and there has to be an official representing the town there at the meetings. Now, and I asked the gentleman, I'm sorry to, go ahead, what were you going to say?
I said the problem with CCM, in my town anyhow, is that we never sent a representative to the CCM meetings for the different agendas. They took all the freebies, like he was talking about, the free this and the free that, and never sent a representative to the meetings. Therefore, the representatives at the CCM meetings were mostly the big cities, Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, and they dominated the meetings. So when we had the gun law controversy where they're trying to confiscate the guns, CCM came out with a position that enforced the gun, that favored the gun grabbers. And I said, what the hell is my town, a Republican town, doing with supporting a CCM resolution grabbing guns? And the response I got was, well, we didn't know about it.
Yeah, that's what they always
We didn't
feign
know
ignorance.
about it.
Well, that's what
I said, well, if you don't know about it, you gotta get your ass out of this organization. If you're not sending representatives, get out of it.
No, they feign
But they
ignorance.
don't. They don't get out of it. They stay with it, and they still aren't sending anybody to the meetings, so they only take what's given.
Can the townspeople ask or put to a vote to come out of that?
I would think you have to get a ballot initiative but the main thing is you have to get the public support. People don't realize, I didn't even know I had a regional government. I've heard of, that we have counties and all this, but I never realized that we were signed on to something to get free money. At the city council meeting that I spoke at, somebody actually came up to speak and said, well, we got a special break because we're a member of the CCM. We're able to get a special deal on our electricity. So the town saved $250,000 by signing on for it. The way that it becomes relevant to what we're talking about today is the CCRPA, the regional agency. Again, you pay into it. You're not going to get a sustainability grant for your downtown if you're not a member. They're the ones that are handing it down, and it's coming from the Capital Region Council of Governments also. So the Capital Region Council of Governments is overseeing this project in this town. The CCRPA is rolling it out to Bristol. From what I could see, I couldn't, like I said, they don't really have any minutes. And that's the problem. That's part of the problem. I mean, if you're having a public hearing and nobody knows about it, and they're nice enough, by the way, to take a nice screenshot of the ad that they put in the paper, the little newspaper article saying that we're going to have a public hearing for conservation, not for your downtown. So nobody knows what it is. Nobody bothers to go to show up for it. And like I said, they were bewildered, like, oh, somebody's here for it. Nobody ever comes to this. Sir?